From BigHW.com, home headquarters at Bishop Park, this is the Atari Report, 5200 edition with Ray Jackson.
Good evening, everybody. On this edition of the Atari Report, we take a look at an all-time classic that celebrates the princess of Power Pellets herself. Ladies and gentlemen, Ms. Pac-Man for the Atari 5200 SuperSystem.
Yes, indeed, and what a way to kick off our season premiere of our second year at the 5200 edition of the Atari Report. Then this 1982 arcade classic and the sequel to Pac-Man, Ms. Pac-Man, for the Atari 5200 SuperSystem. There are 4 mazes you have to put up with in Ms. Pac-Man as opposed to one where you can run the table all day. I gotta tell you, there's one of them right there, and they get tougher and they're more difficult and they're different on every screen. And I gotta tell you, I'm looking forward to playing this again for the first time in many years. And this was my first time playing it for many years. But as you can tell, the screens get tougher and tougher as you go along the way. But I gotta tell you, it's well done. I mean, basically, 1983 it came out for the Atari 5200 and the Atari 8-bit home computers. And it was well done. I gotta tell you, even better than the, in the 5200 version of Pac-Man, and that in itself was great as well. But this one's more squared up and more like the arcade feel and the arcade look, as opposed to the 5200 version, which looked like they kind of compressed the vertical screen into a horizontal phase here. It's like taking a portrait of a photo and turning it into landscape in some ways, if you want to put it that. But this is well done. I gotta tell you, the graphics are right up there. Pretty good, I tell you. I mean, for the 5200, you can't beat this. You gotta have this in your cartridge collection or on your Atari Max Ultimate SD multi-card if you happen to own one of those. Obviously, I have it, and I used to have the cartridge back in the day when I first got it in 1984. But, yes, the 5200 version is certainly the best of all of them and things like that. Although there may be others for other Atari systems or other systems out there, but for the 5200, this is well done, I gotta tell you. I mean, obviously, anybody knows how to play Pac-Man, and Ms. Pac-Man is the same thing pretty much. The only difference is, Pac-Man happens to be wearing a bow, and it happens to be a different type of maze that she's putting up with, and the ghost monsters move rather more randomly. They don't go in patterns like what you saw with the original Pac-Man. We could pretty much ace it all day long and run the table and roll the score over at 1,000,000 points and everything else like that. But it certainly is tough. And a lot of things you got to put up with. And yes, she does get more difficult. And plenty of fruits out there for Ms. Pac-Man to eat up as well. They're moving all around the maze and things like that, unlike the standard Pac-Man where they're all in one place. But yeah, you could go all day on this one, I'll tell you. I mean, any kind of Pac-Man game out there, you can play the 5200. It's highly recommended, and I gotta tell you, it's more difficult than what people see because, for one thing, Ms. Pac-Man, when it first came out in the arcade, was the antidote to the fixed patterns on Pac-Man, which is similar to what that guy did on that game show Press Your Luck. In other words, he recognized the patterns to it. How do you think he won $110,000+ in cash and prizes on that game show? He figured out the patterns. Well, you're not going to be able to figure out the patterns in this particular game because there are no patterns in Ms. Pac-Man, unlike the original. And this is well done, and whoever programmed it back in 1983 for the 5200 ought to be highly commended for it because it's well done. I got to tell you, pretty good. I mean, as you well know, the controller response with the stock 5200 isn't up to par. But in the aftermarket particular joystick, or perhaps even for that matter, maybe even the retro Game Boy's joystick will do you fine there. Or any other source, digital or analog. Yes, but here's the first intermission right there. Yes, it has all the intermissions that Ms. Pac-Man is famous for, as well as the original Pac-Man. But I'll tell you, this game is pretty good, and it gets tougher. There's your blue screen right there, and obviously it's a different maze, and a lot more challenging maze at that too. But yeah, 2 thumbs up for this particular game. It's well worth it. and a must-have for anybody who has Pac-Man.
Well, guys, what do you think? I gotta tell you, Ms. Pac-Man is an all-time classic. I gotta tell you that much. I know my gameplay is a little bit iffy right now, of course, and it'll get better. It'll get better. I mean, this is my first time playing Ms. Pac-Man in quite a while, in many, many years for that matter. And she still plays as good as she did back in the day. And hopefully, my gameplay will get up there. But I gotta tell you, graphics-wise, they're pretty good for 1984 standards. I gotta tell you, even here in 2021, they look pretty good as well. I gotta tell you, I highly recommend this. I highly recommend you download it through AtariH.com. Click on the link down below and you'll get to it. But I do admit, though, you know, that it could be a little bit better. But I gotta tell you, Ms. Pac-Man already looks fantastic as it is right now. So why change it? Why change it? Of course. That's what I got to say about it. Well, that's game over for this edition of the Atari Report. So for all of us here at BigHMW.com, World Headquarters, I'm Ray Jackson wishing you good gaming and good night.